It's a quiet city where everything feels normal, and people live happily until suddenly an earthquake hits. At first, people think it's just a mild tremor and that it's over. But that was just the calm before the storm. After that, a massive collapse and a huge storm began, destroying everything in the area. What exactly is happening? Will the people survive this storm, or will it be the end? That's what we'll find out in today's video. Let's get started. The story begins in a coastal city in Norway. We learn that this city is surrounded by a group of mountains that could collapse or cause tremors at any moment, potentially destroying the whole city and killing everyone, just like it happened many times before. Right now, we follow a resident named Christian. He's on his way home to the house he shares with his wife, Eden, their young daughter, Julia, and their son, Sundri. Christian is sitting with his family, and from their conversation, we understand that they plan to leave the city very soon. The next day, Christian goes to work at the Earthquake Monitoring Center. This center is responsible for monitoring the mountains around the city, so that if any tremor or collapse occurs, they can immediately alert the people to evacuate and keep everyone safe. At work, Christian chats with his colleagues, including his manager, Arvid, a woman named Margot, and another man named Jacob. Everyone is saying goodbye because today is Christian's last day at the center. After finishing his work, Christian heads to the control room where suddenly everyone is shocked to discover that the underground water levels beneath the mountain have dropped drastically. Christian suspects that this could lead to a tremor or even a mountain collapse. However, Arvid reassures him that their sensors haven't detected anything unusual yet, so there's no need to worry. Christian calms down a bit and leaves. The next day, Christian plans to take his children, Sundri and Julia, and leave the city. Eden will stay for a few more days because of work before joining them in their new city. Christian picks up his children and is about to leave, but at the last moment, he remembers something and returns to the monitoring center. He leaves the kids in the car outside and goes inside, where Arvid and the team are gathered. Christian explains that the mountain might actually collapse, but their devices aren't showing any signs because the shaking could have damaged the cables connecting the sensors, preventing them from working properly. Christian convinces the team to check, so he and Jacob go down to the mountain to inspect the sensor cables. They discover that Christian was right. The cables were destroyed by the mountain's vibrations. Christian, Jacob, Arvid, and the others return. Christian insists they must evacuate the city immediately, but Arvid refuses, telling Christian that nothing will happen and that they will just replace the cables with new ones. Christian gets frustrated but doesn't argue further. He leaves Arvid and the others and goes back to the car to find his kids missing. He assumes they are with their mother at the hotel where she works, so he decides to go find them. We see that Eden, Christian's wife, works at a hotel, specifically at the reception with her colleague named Rebecca. One day, two couples arrive to book rooms at the hotel, Philip and Maria. Not long after, Christian arrives at the hotel and finds his children there. He apologizes for being late at work, and they decide that Christian will stay at the hotel with his kids for the night. But Julia, Christian's daughter, asks to go back to their house to spend one last night there and say goodbye to the home. Christian agrees, takes Julia, and they leave. Meanwhile, Sundri stays behind at the hotel with Eden because he likes Rebecca, his mother's coworker, and wants to spend more time with them. The next day, a worker at the monitoring center named Mikkel discovers that one of the sensors is still active and detecting unusual movements in the mountain. He quickly calls Margot, who then contacts Arvid and Jacob to inform them of what's happening. Without wasting time, Arvid and Jacob grab their gear and enter the mountain to confirm whether there really are tremors. Meanwhile, Christian is getting ready to leave the city, but suddenly notices groups of people fleeing in large numbers. He realizes that a major tremor and collapse are imminent. Birds are also migrating away, something that always happens before an earthquake. Christian immediately calls Margot to get updates on the situation and asks her to connect him with Arvid. Arvid tells him they must evacuate the mountain immediately because the collapse is starting. Arvid follows the order, but the mountain begins to collapse before they can fully get out. As he unties his rope and secures Jacob for safety, the mountain caves in. Arvid falls to his death amid Jacob's screams and horror. Jacob cannot believe what's happening. At the same time, their communication cuts off. We now know the collapse has started, and it begins affecting the whole city. The shaking and landslides impact Christian's house, which starts to crumble. Christian takes Julia and Julian in his arms to protect them. At the hotel, Eden and Sundri experience the tremors as well. Eden rushes out and notices the shaking intensify in the city. She is very worried about her son Sundri and goes to find him. On the way, she meets Rebecca and learns about the mountain collapse, which means a severe flood is heading toward the city in just a few minutes. They immediately start waking all the hotel guests, including Philip and Maria, and evacuate them outside. Eden, however, cannot find Sundry and starts searching desperately. Rebecca takes the guests onto a bus to get them out of the city quickly. Maria decides to help Eden find Sundry. Philip refuses to leave Maria alone, so he stays with her while Eden and Maria search. Suddenly, the flood hits the entire city, including the hotel, flooding the basement where Eden, Maria, and Philip are searching for Sundry. Due to the rising water, Maria drowns in a very sad scene witnessed by everyone. Eden and Philip are unable to help her. Eden and Philip continue searching until they find Sundry in a locked room. The door shuts behind them, trapping them inside. As the water rises dangerously, Philip starts to lose his mind and tries to stay afloat while pushing Eden and Sundry above the water to prevent them from drowning. Eden manages to calm Philip and pulls him underwater, where he drowns, just like his wife, Maria. Now Eden and Sundry are stuck in the room with no way out. Meanwhile, Christian is driving out of the city with Julia in their car. The roads are jammed with many people trying to escape. Christian realizes that if they stay stuck in traffic, the flood will catch up and drown them all. He gets out of the car and starts running with Julia, urging everyone around to do the same and escape by running. People follow Christian's lead, and the floodwater rises closer and closer to them. On the road, Christian encounters neighbors, Tomas, his wife Anna, and their young daughter. Christian urges them to run with him to safety, but a car hits Anna. Christian tells Tomas to take the children and escape, while he stays behind to help Anna. Anna is injured and unable to walk, so Christian carries her to a car, sits beside her, and they wait as the floodwater rises and eventually floods their vehicle, overturning it. Later, Christian is found safe in the car, but sadly, Anna has died. Christian is devastated. After some time, he leaves the car and looks for Tomas, Julia, and Anna's daughter. He finds them and informs Tomas about Anna's death. Tomas is heartbroken, but Christian tries to stay focused. Christian leaves Julia with Tomas and goes to look for his wife Eden and son Sundry. Not long after, Christian arrives at the flooded hotel and searches desperately for his family. He finds the room where Eden and Sundry are trapped underwater. Christian dives into the water, rescues Eden, and brings her to safety. Then he goes back and manages to pull Sundry out as well. Christian faints from exhaustion, and Eden and Sundry think he has died, but they work to revive him and succeed. Christian wakes up, feeling much better. He gathers his family again. Despite the destruction in the city, everyone is happy that they survived and are together. Thankfully, this disaster is past, and the family is now safe. The film ends on this happy note, and I hope you enjoyed it. That's all for now. Take care.